Hi. It would be traditional to respond somehow in kind, like good morning would be, good morning. Good morning. Hi. What a gas to be here. Had a raging 400 comment Facebook thread happening about the difference between affiliate marketers and regular marketers. All I could say is respect. And what I could say about agencies, we don't get paid if our shit doesn't work either. It just takes a minute longer to happen. And there's more frustration even. So, okay. Without further ado, I come from Minnesota. I live in Duluth, Minnesota, and in St. Paul, Minnesota. The title of my talk today is apt for what it's like. We're kind of in a WTF merging of all things right now. Social, psychographics, data, SEO, PR. Like, what the hell is marketing now anyway? Like, what the hell is it? Like, it's blowing my mind to shreds right now. Like thinking about the difference between PR and SEO, nothing basically. And if you listen to some people discuss it, sorry, didn't mean to do that. It's like trying to hear some technical presentations. It's like I feel like I'm in the room with a tinfoil on the head sort of person. It's especially true when we start to talk about changing paradigms. The world we live in as marketers, like the HR description, like who we work for and what we do is changing a lot. In major channels, they've been trying to make up targeting for years. They've been trying to make it up for years. 8 years ago, Google tried to make up keyword tools, take away keyword tools. And the reality is that major search engines, at least, and soon to be social and display, though that's already happening, are getting closer to replacing us. Like, anybody here ever worried that they're gonna lose their job or lost a job to a platform or something like that? Take Google DSA ads, dynamic search ads. Some major portfolios at Google, using Google, have between 16 and 18% DSA ads by budget. Anybody here ever work with DSA? They just make up that shit. You point them at a page and it just does it. Like, so we go, is artificial intelligence going to take our job? Well, by 2018, some estimates have business content, approximately 20% of it being artificial intelligence, and it works really, really well. If you think about dynamic search ads that makes up both targeting and creative, and you add in conversion optimizer in Google, that's almost total freaking automation. Like, yes, PR, human resources are going to shift. It performs, that type of technology increases performance in some cases, but not all cases. And the major point to take away is that optimization is getting less and less and less about content and more and more and more about running the machines. Click. So if you think about what's left for marketers upcoming, really creative is where it's at. When we do creative, we don't get ads approved, we get approved things to say so that we can populate variable-based advertising platforms with our creative. And that's us, shoveling creative into Google. Like, it's getting warm in there as people lose their jobs. Like, literally at our company, we've been replacing ad ops people with creative people as things became more artificial intelligence. And that is a marketer burning in Google hell. I feel better now. Testing, 1, 2, 3. If you want to see a really interesting search, try that one. Artificial intelligence to write ad copy. If you want to stay on top of your jobs, then we need to make it our business to go through and systematically understand what AI is going to be. It's all over everywhere. This is a recent Wired article about Google's hand-fed AI now gives answers, not just search results. It's true, some of Google's artificial intelligence is kind of stupid, but what I could say is resistance is futile. You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. So here's what we're going to talk about today. First, we're going to talk about psychographics. The targeting that powers Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Display, DMPs, DSP data partners, and how it's advancing, and some hacks that you could use that you may not know about and you may like. Most of you would love to buy SEO if you knew how, and I'm going to tell you how to buy SEO legally. Does that sound fun? Legal purchases of SEO. Influencer targeting, well, we've got our own slant on that using occupational psychographics in major social channels, and I will show you some case studies. And I'll just tell you that if you can tolerate me for 45 minutes to 50 minutes, at the end I'll give you my email address and I'm going to give away all the cool data that I show here for you to import into Power Editor and Twitter so you can do the mojo. We're going to talk about filtered retargeting, which means at scale, not retargeting everybody, but using psychographic targeting to filter it and tailored creative. Then I'm going to give you a list of things to do, a mashup list between search and social. Integrated is one of those well-abused words like big data or artificial intelligence or integrated. It means whatever the hell we say it means, but I'll show you some formulas for actually integrating your paid and organic social and search media for effect. And then finally, I'll highlight the influencer marketing psychographic toolkit and I'll give it to you to take home. For perspective, that's something that like 18 months ago, we were charging clients $25K to tell them about, and we would never install the data anywhere. And I'm happy to share it with this year's conference audiences. So you ready? Okay, we'll work on that. I know it seems early, like it's like 11:15, 11:30, but it feels like I just rolled out of bed this morning. Can anybody tell me where that picture is taken from? The top of Notre Dame in Paris. Get it? Psychographic targeting leaps? Never mind. First, let's talk about what psychographics are. It's the who of what we are, as opposed to the what we search for. Interest, affinities, proclivities, biases, sexuality, weird shit. I mean, you know about psychographics if you've ever sold delivery pizza to people in London who are smoking weed at night, or minivans to pregnant people, or water treatment facilities to like city planners and academia and movers and shakers in a community. You could speak to economic status, relationship status, and 20,000 other things. Psychographics are the who we are as opposed to the what we ask for. And that gets a little interesting because if you're Google, then certainly queries are part of a psychographic profile. And the objects that form intent data and custom affinity audiences inside of Google are likely merged with queries and we just can't see it. It's really where we're in the machine as the digital communications and all we do in our digital life with our phones, with everything, etc. Psychographics are who we are, like a psychographic print of who we are, all the different attributes. And it's come really a long way. Not your mom's Facebook ads. No, no, no. Back in the day, Facebook was sort of an affiliate shithouse in the early day, like in 2007, late 2007, where if you wanted the deal like on Viagra or payday loans, that's where you could go. But it's gotten amazing, mainstream, while retaining its edge. There's layers. It used to be in nascent psychographic targeting platforms, especially Facebook, which is still the coolest engine now, that you would be into basket weaving or botany, making the audience bigger, the or operator, right? But now there's multiple layers in a number of different psychographic display amplification platforms that let you go and. So this and that. Facebook gives you 4 of them. And depending on which UI you have, sometimes more, it gives you 4. So it could be this and this, and this, and this, and this, narrowing the audience. If you use the and operator, then it makes the audience smaller. If you use the or operator, it makes the audiences bigger. So here's an example of how you might layer. In the upper left-hand corner, we're talking about 7,200 people here. It's not a mass audience. Wouldn't cost anything to dominate, very much to dominate them. Lower right-hand corner, they're interested in self-invested personal pensions, planning for retirement. These are retirement mechanisms that you're interested in before you retire. Upper left-hand corner, down, age 40 to 61, so classic American pre-retirement years, right? Then lower left-hand corner, behaviors. They're real estate investors. I mean, they're real estate investors. There's dozens of flavors of investors inside of Facebook. And then go to the right, they love Florida or the Gold Coast or Miami or Boca. Boca, they love Boca. So what you've got here, if you happen to be selling like retirement sort of real estate in Florida, is you've got a really badass psychographic targeting block here. So that's an example of how we would layer it. The exclude function is within the last year or so, and it's amazingly powerful. There's going to be a few things that I tell you today that are outside of the concept things that a keynote speaker usually talks about, like theory. This is one that you could just take home and do, because it's kind of idiotic not to. So map your negative keywords from AdWords to your Facebook campaigns and see what parses. Go take the list and paste it in your exclude box. It's really a big deal. Like no matter how deep social psychographics become, we still need words to describe them and words to describe what we do not want. So map your negative keyword list from search to exclusion box in Facebook. Here's an example. Here's 115 million people that are into free shit. Free baby stuff, free in capital letters, the freebie source. I don't know about you, but I'm not really big on spending money or time marketing to people who want shit for free unless it's really a free thing that I'm selling. So here's an example of usage. I'm gonna kneel so I could see this easily because I'm somewhat blind. So on the left-hand side, you've got people who work in a home office, and then their job titles are full charge bookkeeper, payroll bookkeeper, account manager, and you've got 51,000 people there, right? So say we're selling SaaS software like Mint or whatever. We're selling a software package, and I'm marketing to this crowd. Look on the right now, and I've got the exclusions happening up above, and you'll see that I reduced it from 51,000 people to 36,000 people, which is the easier audience to dominate. If you ever want to do something really interesting, take the free, and we'll give you the exclusions in the data that you download, and paste it into all of Facebook for America and see what percentage of Americans are into free stuff. So that's an example. Also, for fundamentals about psychographic targeting, like Facebook targeting, I'm going to talk about Facebook a lot because it's still the most advanced channel in terms of what we could do and how we can layer data and exclusions and what types of data are available. These concepts apply to all psychographic targeting channels, and we will be working with these precepts forever, long after I'm retired. So we think about personas as like rooting them. Say you're marketing a restaurant, like that pretty restaurant in the picture. See the pretty restaurant? It's not like French Laundry, but it's not Arby's either. It's like a mid-range, non-quick serve restaurant, right? So it's just kind of a nice place, maybe like 18 bucks a plate, right? So say you're the marketer for that restaurant. That block right there in purchase behavior comes from MasterCard data. MasterCard data, it's really easy in Facebook to look and see where the data comes from, and they tell you sometimes. So that means that the people who are in this targeting segment spend more money on their MasterCard at that kind of restaurant. So if I'm selling like a restaurant like that, like, okay, I could either target who spend money at this kind of place a lot or not. So that's really easy. Then they're high spenders at those restaurants. In America, that's 14.4 million people. So talking about a community of maybe 100 to 200,000, I'm going to show you a way to make a micro audience that's really susceptible to your sales pitches. After you root it, the root is the one thing that it needs to be. Like, that's what my thing is. It's somebody who spends money at a restaurant, period. That's what they do. It's rooted, like a tent stake or something. Then go back to your search marketing prowess. Like the best social marketers, the best social psychographic marketers are ones with a search background because we understand intent. We do. Search marketers know intent. So after you root it in a money thing, then look for active words like eating at. If you're into culinary tourism, that means you like to go out and do shit, and you spend money at restaurant, and the shit you like to do is to go out and eat at restaurants. Or dining out with. Eating out doesn't exactly apply without another word because there are misunderstandings about that at restaurants. But eating out with, eating out at. And you could take that activity to any type of segment that you build. Look on the margins, it's the ing words, spending time with, traveling to, watching, attending, visiting, studying, understanding, or shopping words, like shopping, like they're into shopping. So then remember that you can make the audiences smaller with potent, like amazing financial clarifiers, like they make $750K a year to $1 million, or they're really into Rolexes, or they use a certain kind of credit card a lot. So you've got, and also there's an Easter egg in Facebook ads that is not really publicized called liquid net worth. Like what do they stuff it in their mattresses or something? Liquid net worth. It means not only do they have, like they have cash, like they have money. So now you start to see how you could layer who people are using this technology. And a caveat, anybody here not in America? Not in America? Right, so more and more Facebook is bringing that data to you as they replace partner objects with their objects, but still it's not apples to apples between like America and like Italy or something. Also, just if you want to get tricky about how to do what is, in our opinion, best practices about psychographic targeting, is you can have dual roots as long as they're pretty big. Because remember, each new thing with the and operator makes the audiences smaller. Anybody here in financial or banking industry or anything like that, or sell credit cards or anything like that? Or mortgages. This one's for mortgages. So the upper left-hand corner, that's a data logics object inside of Facebook that people are likely to buy online mortgages. Okay, so I sell online mortgages. So I can either target people who are likely to buy online mortgages or not, people who are receptive to online higher mortgage offers. Look to the right, upper right. They're veterans of the U.S. military. They're veterans. They're retired from the military. They were previously employed by the military. So like now I've got a dual root persona there where those are the two things that it have to be. I'm going to guess that's about 10 million people or so. And then take your active, disciplined, high activity targeting and dial it in as a layer. One really super cool place to do is to go to Wikipedia, search for reality home flipping shows and get a great big list and target people so they're gonna buy mortgages, because that's what they're gonna do. They're veterans of the US military and they watch remodeling, they're into remodeling my home or extreme home makeover or HGTV dream home or something like that. Can you see how you could start to layer these things to really flesh out the audiences? The bad news is that layering data costs a little more money. The good news is that so many sales are more than one touch, and you can continue to operate on these folks inexpensively, which I'll show you later. And of course, specificity versus scale is always the great big question. I mean, if I say, I'm gonna target everybody who's Marty, who's just grateful to be speaking to Affiliate Summit in Las Vegas this morning on Facebook, like I'm out of data. There's like nobody. Like I'm statistically insignificant in terms of like targeting data. I would say that it's not just specificity versus scale, but also versus cost. Because as a rule in social, the more layers that you add, the more it costs. So the more touches it takes to flesh out and convert an audience, the more apt you would be to use layers. And if you zoom out, it costs less and there's a branding effect. It's another conversation. Now, some really radical things have happened in the last 18 months. The kind that they're so intense that this year I'm gonna spend like 2 months in the woods with nobody, just talking to myself about it. You think I'm kidding, I'm actually gonna do that. And if anybody here into gardening, I grew those Asiatic lilies in Minnesota, just saying. So lookalike modeling. So whereas as a marketer, I've always been after the most dead-eye, badass, top-of-funnel thing I could do. Like if I'm a brain surgeon practice, I don't buy brain surgery as a keyword. I don't even buy brain surgeon. I buy brain surgeon Milwaukee or best brain surgeon Milwaukee. Like I grew up like many of us, top of the funnel, convert that shit fast. Like I'm an affiliate, I have the heart of an affiliate marketer, like sell. Like why don't we sell? Let's stop messing around. That said, my amazing staff oftentimes vetoes me for doing top-of-funnel things and encourages me to do Facebook 1% lookalike modeling on the thank you page. It works in some industries as not. Test it right away. Like take the email lists of your converted or page touches of your converted and lookalike model those suckers and do ads to them and see, or amplify your content to them and see how it works. Also, a fascinating phenomena that's good for the platforms and good for us, it's been so in YouTube for much longer and relatively new in Facebook, is engagement retargeting. In Facebook, you do not have to drive them to your website to build a retargeting list anymore. And that's really cool. You could target people who watched a video for a percentage of it or a length of it or interacted with a lead ad but didn't buy anything or engage with your canvas. Also, YouTube, most people don't know that you could build a Google remarketing list from YouTube views even if they never go to your site. So engagement retargeting is massive. Like here's an example. Get people to watch videos and then run search ads just to those people. Who cares what the keyword costs? There's so few of them, right? So that's a big deal. And then finally, it gets very zen. Like say I have a site that has, or any of these re-engagement sorts of units. Like if I build it out to where I have 100,000 people that watched a video and didn't convert, I don't have to retarget to all of them. I can retarget only to certain ones filtered by Facebook targeting. So you could do re-engagement ads within Facebook and YouTube, and you could retarget or remarket all of them, or you could filter it further. I know that's a little like esoteric. I have some concrete examples for you a little later. So far as Twitter, I mean, I'm pretty disappointed in the blue bird. I was pulling data this morning that shows that Donald Trump is responsible for about 18% of Twitter's search interest in the last 90 days. Really interesting. But as a rule, if you want to decide what ad tech to invest in, go back to Google and Facebook and collate stock prices to major ad platform improvements. Right? The bottom line with Twitter is there's not enough people, and the ad platform still is kind of dumb. It's cool and it's powerful, but it's nothing like other channels. Like that's what happened with Twitter over like the last 5 years, so you could see where we're going. Let's just have a moment. Let's have a moment. I love Twitter. I love Twitter because you are who you are in public. People like me shouldn't use Facebook where you could be different things to different people. Am I scaring you? Should we think of our mother or something right now? Mom. So to me, the definitive resource for non-major platform psychographic data sources is an Oracle resource called Little Blue Book. It was Blue Kai before it was Oracle, Little Blue Book. Because if you think about Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google, which is Google, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google, Twitter, Instagram, if you think about those, that's a very high percentage of the internet, right? But there's other data holders that are substantial. These are all different boutique data companies, and you could access them through DMPs, like DoubleClick or Blue Kai or the Trade Desk. If you're an agency or you're a larger shop and you're looking for one that you could really run yourself, it would be the Trade Desk. So I would encourage you to go into Little Blue Book and go through the data channels and see if there's the data sort. They say why. They say where it came from. They go, here's what we do. Here's how fast we refresh the data. So I would encourage you to download Little Blue Book and read it. Like it's foundational. Which begs to ask the immortal question, does a stove have a spirit? Is a stove psychographic? What about this? Like, how does that fit? What does that mean? Like, how does the Internet of Things fit in here? Here's how it fits. Your refrigerator doesn't have psychographic attributes, but when you try to figure out if you still have eggs, you are. Or keep track of your green peppers or the lean cuisine that you scan into your refrigerator. So now the targeting companies are putting things in your home where it keeps track of who you are. Anybody hear about the Amazon personal assistant, like where they were subpoenaed by the cops? Like, I don't know about you, but I don't leave any permissions on in my phone. Like, you have to pay me, or it has to be something that I purchase. Like, I go through my phone. Like, I make sure my shit's not listening to me. Another fascinating development is email. We have a project we're working on that kind of blows my mind a bit. There's 2 or 3, depending on how you measure it, companies in America that have records on 350 million Americans that include email, social profiles, phone number, household information. Then they partner with Experian to see financial data. Like, there's psychographic segmentation available in email lists now. Anybody here do highly segmented email lists? You in the future. It's interesting. Email costs a lot more than buying. Buying social ads, if you want to segment your email by Axiom psychographic data layers, then that costs a lot more than using Axiom, the same object inside of Facebook. Why? Because people can't opt out of an Axiom behavioral object in Facebook, but they can trash the record inside if you do it by email. So look for a confluence. Right now, a page touch. Have you ever wished that you could somebody could come to a page on the internet in real time, you could see everything about them right there? Well, that technology completely exists, totally exists for 350 million Americans. You know who would get to use it? The NSA would get to use it. Like, that's who would get to use it. For us, though, as marketers, what it means is if I get somebody to go to my web page, I can find other people that look like them. If I get somebody to give me an email address, I can find other people that look like them. Probably many of you, anybody here dump email lists into custom audiences in Facebook, then run lookalike modeling on them, then segment them further? What's going to happen in the next few years is a real 360, like all one record. And the cost will come down. Like, you'll be interfacing more with email. Oh, this is also an amazing Easter egg here. Do you know that you could just buy SEO? Straight up buy SEO. Do you know that? Anybody here buy SEO? Of course you do. Of course you do. Because why do SEO when you could just buy it, is what I say. So here's an example. These are sponsored posts that AimClear bought in search engine land and marketing land over the last year or so. Pretty cool. I mean, I won't say what they cost on the podium, but they weren't very expensive. They were low four numbers. And if you look down the list of it, we know what we're doing. It's optimized for SEO, even though it's a promoted post. Like this one, Twitter political targeting precision. Like, obviously the keyword we're after is Twitter political targeting. Well, that shit just indexes in Google with the full weight of marketing land and search engine land. The full SEO weight. Why? Well, last time Google weighed in on this was 2013, and Matt Cutts did a piece on advertorials, and it's perfectly legal if the links are no follow. Fine. So if you're a new company, or you just buy a bunch of promoted posts that cover your keyword spectrum, something really rad about it is that it works fantastic for image search. This is a search for PR psychographics, and that's image. Those are image SERPs, and we own all the images, like all of them. It just works really well. Now, Google's rule about news is that you may not purchase news. You can't go buy a Mashable post with Google News and expect that it will be in Google News, except that webmasters will tell you that even if you do separate news sitemaps and all, it's really hard to keep it out. It's broken. Google is broken when it comes to keeping news out. So if you buy that promoted post and it's a Google News, let me give you an example of the power. Like, that's the #1 for psychographic PR segmentation. And I know you'll go, not that many people search for it, except for the one person that's going to pay me $1 million to get them elected. Here's something really fun. This is over a year old. This is a news result for San Francisco Psychographic Agency. And that #1 in Google News results is for a promoted post in search engine land. So I'm serious, you guys. If you need a really quick SEO bump, that's what you do. Here's how you find publications that whore out their SEO credibility, which is really the only way to say it. Well, you could probably say it other ways. Just go into Google, say you sell gardening implements, or potted whatever, and search for sponsored garden posts. and then drill through the SERPs, and you can find the publication that does it, and it's pretty easy to find their advertising thing. And here's one. This is the Telegraph in UK, right? So there it is. Like, I mean, I'm very long tail on the search, so you could see it. The point is that you could index with the full authority and weight of a publication in SEO and buy it, and it's legal, and news works even though it's not supposed to. And if anybody gets dinged about the news, it's the publication, not you. You didn't do it. Okay, let's take a breath. I like to breathe at least once in the first 20 minutes. You guys doing okay? It's coming at you okay? There's a lot here. We have so much to go through. Great for time here. Whoa, sorry. There's a lot of, the reason I wanted to show this one is because the upper left is the PR department, and I'm the SEO department, right? It's just really hard. Like, things aren't very integrated. Things are not very integrated. Like, physically, the structures in many companies are sort of wrong. There's all these disconnects for click. Like it's interdepartmental clusterfuck, really. Like, departments or agencies or departments or people don't really work together. And there's all these really interesting missed opportunities for working together, like how paid social works with earned social, or PR influencer distribution works with SEO. Like, there's just a lot of missed opportunities that as marketers we can help connect the dot. Last week, I went to visit a company that we do paid social for, and I visited the PR department, and I wanted to just send a nastygram going, it's not like I threatened to kill your family or anything. Like, lighten up. Like, there's plenty of cheese for all of us. Anybody here ever seen somebody that amplifies content with no rhyme or reason? You're affiliate marketers, so you probably don't see it very much, that kind of waste, but I see it in big corporate America a lot. Just throwing money at social with no rhyme or reason about it. Sorry. And as a result, there's so many missed public relations opportunities. And the difference between public relations and SEO is like nothing. Like, the search engines have amazing bullshit detectors, and the best way to get great SEO is to do notable things in life or in business. The right way to think about things is to do a social psychographic, which means we're amplifying content in social with that type of targeting. Influencer distribution. So I know that all for days you're going to hear about influencer distribution. I'm going to show you like our take on that. What is an influencer anyway, exactly? An influencer is somebody who leads thinking or has a lot of authority in any channel. Media roles that are vertical, like they're a contributing editor for the New York Times, or they blog for cars.com, or they're a podcaster that's interested in nutrition, like vertical influencers. Or the description's always expanding. It could be the mayor. It could be the union boss. Like, influencer is a moving target. We still need influencer distribution as marketers because we need people to mention us. We need links for SEO still. We need branding. Like, we need people to say positive things so we retain customers. Typical PR things like interviews or place articles or things like that. Like, as I was preparing for the keynote, we interviewed Missy because she's cool and it's her conference and she's an influencer and it's just really a good thing. Like, influencer marketing, right? We need it for marketing. We all know that. So here's how we approach that concept using social psychographic targeting. If it has a red arrow, then if you email me, I'll send you the data for import into Power Editor, so you could just start with these examples, okay? The reason it says SEO Oktoberfest is because once a year I wall myself off in Germany and go to a conference with a bunch of whacked people, and I just did this in October at Oktoberfest. So in America and major EU nations, there's about 500,000 influencers, and they have 300 or so different job titles. Social media community manager, podcast host, anchor reporter, journalist writer, senior correspondent. There's about 300 roles there. That's by the job title bucket inside of Facebook, but there's also another way. You know, if somebody's into movable type or Yoast SEO plugin, right, I think I know what they're into. I think I know that they're into blogging. So that's 5,900,000 people in EU. I'm mixing EU and American data here, but you'll get this data for major EU nations and America. Then let's just go a little farther into it. There's 60,000 people who work for major newspapers around the world as sorted by dollars, as revealed by Wikipedia. 3,100 people who work for US business magazines. 45,000 people who work for major American newspapers, like top 50 newspapers. I'm going through this quickly. You'll get it in the data. So we just don't need to spend time on this in a granular way. But here's the trick, you guys. There's 51 million people in America who we call the funny people. They're into Cracked, or Cheeseburger, or The Onion, or Mad Magazine, or BuzzFeed, right? If you're into that shit, then you're into sharing, and you're into funny things. This is 51 million Americans who are funny. So what you do, funny, is you take the other roles and use the and operator and layer the proclivity for sharing. At AA, they say, if you don't want to slip, then don't walk in slippery places. If you want to get rebroadcast, then go walking in rebroadcast places. That's a weak analogy, but I enjoyed it. Anyway, so this is 160 of media roles, that 500,000 bucket, but only the funny ones. 3.6 million people who have blog interests in America, and the funny interests. 12,000 people who work for major newspapers. And I know, some people who work at a newspaper and are into Cracked or Cheeseburger might be like the HR director or something, and I don't care, because we're going to go so vertical with this targeting that if they're not the ones who write about it, they know who does. So here's an example. This was actually rolled out for an event that was in Washington. So I'll cut to the chase and tell you it's 28,000 influencers. This got so many links. So in the upper left, you've got the viral interest. That's the 59 million, 58 million funny people bucket. On the bottom, you've got the 500,000, in America it's less, but you've got the influencer bucket, the and operator, so they're funny and they're the influencers. And then the green, you've got LGBT interests. So if you think about what's happening here, we've got influencers, they're funny people, and they're into those sorts of issues. Bang, amplify your content to those people. Here's some examples of applying it so that you know how to use it, okay? Say you've got the snarky Travelocity, I don't like when people breathe on me or spill over into my seat or have bad breath or crowd like, I call the people who aren't business class, who are in the way of the business class people standing there gate lice, never mind. So if you're marketing that travel rudeness thing, here's the targeting you might use. Upper left-hand corner, the 50 million people funny bucket. Behavior. Money says they're frequent international travelers, or they're US upscale travelers, or they're business travelers. And lower left, they're in the 500,000 influencer bucket. Then dial in some income, so I know they have a job, so that they're employed at least. And we have 6,004 people who are snarky traveler business critic professionals. Here's another example. I'm very proud of my staff for the US Search Award wins, and one of them was for best use of PR in a search campaign, and it was for our own PR against big brands and big agencies, and this was 25% of that case study. So we had that program going on in search engine land and marketing land, and so we're getting the free SEO for it, well, the paid SEO, like we're buying SEO and it's showing up there, free because that's not what I purchased the post for at first. And so then we started amplifying that post to people who worked for major US newspapers and actually business publications too. It was a 10,000 person audience, but the and operator was they like Kenshu or Google Analytics or inbound marketing. So now you've got 10,000 people who have like a personal interest in hardcore marketing things. Until a staff writer for the Wall Street Journal, he worked there. He wasn't contributing anything, called me up and he said, for months I've been seeing your content about targeting journalists and influencers in Facebook for PR. And I'd like to write an article about influencer distribution to journalists and influencers. So now we've got a Wall Street Journal writer writing an article about targeting journalists and influencers where he says our name like 3 times, and there's 2 links to 2 different resources that are do follow. And like, do you get the meta of that? Like, we're amplifying content about amplifying content to influencers, and he's writing articles about amplifying content to influencers. I just think that's a stitch. That is so funny to me. So, I mean, I woke up one morning and it was an article in the Wall Street Journal about us, and they said my name and they said our company. Did I say Wall Street Journal? Wall Street freaking Journal. How much would you pay for a PR placement to get your shit in the Wall Street Journal? Because I would. I mean, I would pay. So then, of course, we got the SEO from the Wall Street Journal article, which was pretty cool. And we did the only reasonable thing. We wrote a sponsored post about the Wall Street Journal article and amplified that back to the same journalists. It's just a great big incestuous, sweaty freaking mess. And it's beautiful and it works. Influencer marketing, everybody. Influencer marketing. Say it. Ooh. Sorry. Oh, and when you send journalists to your post, make sure that either you have a different instance of your post or you're tagged properly and follow them. The worst mistake in the world a journalist can make is to take one of my promoted posts, because I'm going to operate on them with display retargeting until I'm done with them. Like, it works really well. Another little known fact for influencer distribution, how many of you are aware that you could target individuals in Twitter? Do you know that? You could target individuals in Twitter. It's just that it's in 1,000 packs, 1,000 at a time. So if I have a list of 1,000 people, I could just target them, which is really neat. Considering the world, oh, here's how you execute it. It's a custom audience feature, audience manager, create new audience, upload list, and then Twitter usernames in the lower right. It's really totally easy to do in their audiences. And don't worry if you don't catch all this, because we'll send you the deck. If you email me after, I'll send you all the deck and the data. And I'm going to send you this data too. So if you think about the ability to upload a list of Twitter IDs for influencer distribution, with the planet's predilection with fairly useless Twitter lists, all of a sudden Twitter lists are gold. Anybody here do any scraping ever? Like with Mozenda or other object-based scrapers like that? That's really great. You could start with Google, where you go, who are the top chefs? That's just great. They give me a list of users. And then in the SERPs, there's all kinds of blogs. 35 amazing people to follow from Affiliate Summit on Twitter. It's really easy to get it, but here's where it gets really crazy. Start scraping the list. Every news outlet on Earth practically makes Twitter lists of their people, so start scraping. And who cares if there's only 3 you care about? Find 997 people to target that are related enough. It's only 1,000 people. These are the people who work and edit for BuzzFeed. Literally, I could tell you a dozen times that we've targeted BuzzFeed people directly to them in Twitter and found the thing in BuzzFeed when we wouldn't have expected it to. Amazing. Huffington Post, pretty much everybody. You could just start looking now. So scrape Twitter lists and target influencers that way. Great for link building. Scrape, like scrape Twitter users. So on the stuff that we'll send you, we're going to give you a great big list of Twitter handles for business media. All of the people that work for that we could find at this year's Inc. 5000 list, which is cool. Speakers on the conference circuit, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll give you this list that you can paste into Twitter. Mary Morud at our office, who's a genius, she said it's more fun than her first My Little Pony. More fun than her first My Little Pony. Next is filtered retargeting. I think we should take a breath. Ready? This is sort of a non-keynote because it's just so tactical and stuff that you could actually do. We've been retargeting forever, and it's highly effective. It's an important part of most marketers' portfolio, the suite of what they reach for tactically. Now, however, there's new responsibilities if you do anything with organic or paid audiences. because you can cookie them, keep those cookies at an audience, and continue to work them in both social and search. I'll show you. Most of the time, we see retargeting, and it's the obvious place for some company to make a lot more money because they're not segmenting their retargeting properly. I'll give you a checklist of things to try for segmenting. We see so much retargeting that's just dead before they even run it. When you think of the cost of some keywords or the cost of driving traffic organically, your time, if you think of the cost of social ads, there's a lot of money there. And so what I want to do is I want to retain that as a segmented audience list. So here's the way it works. Say you're the person who amplifies content to sell shit. Your new job is to keep track of the cookie pools segmented by either audience or creative, and to turn it over to performance marketers to take advantage of. Team curated, owned audiences, cookie pools for performance marketers. I know that sounds a little Greekish, but I'll walk you through it. You know the classic retargeting metaphor, which is a page. We're going to retarget people who touch that page, or that site, or that group of pages. Like I'm searching for British Airways from Minneapolis to London, and I don't find the flight I want. I look at it, but it's not right. And I show up in Facebook right away, and there's an ad. Well, first, British Airways cheaped out on that because it should say the best damn flight from Minneapolis to London you will ever see. They should be segmenting it by the query and then giving me customized content. Or here's another one. Airbnb, searching for, I like to go fishing, and Hayward, Wisconsin has the Chippewa flowage. And so I search for Airbnb, Chippewa flowage. I go read the Star Tribune, and it says, you belong in Hayward, Marty. That's where you should be. Like, that's done properly. That's done really well. Or catalog retargeting, where there's like 20,000 SKUs in your store, and you segment retargeting, so after you have the misfortune of searching for a battery, no wonder they're going out of business, you're assaulted on the internet with batteries everywhere you go. Product follows users. Or funnel retargeting. Somebody goes stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and bails before they buy. So you would retarget them based on that metaphor and give them a sweeter offer on the retargeting. So what savvy marketers are doing right now is they're dialing in another analogy other than page touches for retargeting. Think of it like this. Any audience I drive in from anywhere where I can identify what the audience is, if I sent you to a blog post right now, and then you came to my site, I could identify that as an organic audience. Certainly anything I buy, then you cookie them as a class, the audience. It's very powerful, like using a retargeting or remarketing metaphor of what the original inventory was. Because ironically, after all this, after everything we've been through as marketers, marketing is once again about list building. It's about retaining the data that you purchase. In the white is aim clear snippet for what we tell clients. We're going to help you build out your assets to maintain and curate segmented cookie pools at the audiences and or creative treatment levels as we agree. And that's gold, you guys. It's gold. Dialing in additional segmentation on your retargeting audience will help you make more money. Here's the list of things that you can try, the channel mashup list. First, we should say that I am talking about retargeting, which is a second pass, right? There's an unfortunate paradigm. Google could totally take custom affinity audiences and filter your searches by psychographics, but they won't, because marketers won't pay the price, and it would be too easy to market on Google. So you have to do a second pass. You have to drive them in and then retarget them with some filter. My first choice is to sell something now with direct response or top of funnel psychographic targeting or CPC, CPA, cost per installation, cost per download. If I can't sell something now, I want to sell something very soon. Retargeting. And that's that search and social mashup two-hop thinking I'm about to share. Here's a list of things you try. Ready? Here's 5 of them. First, you all know you could target your own fans on Facebook. Dial in additional Facebook targeting and filter them. So don't just target every dumbass fan. Target the ones who are going to buy your shit. Okay, that's first. You could also study your Facebook communities that way too. This adds value to previously dead Facebook communities because you know there were branding touches involved. Number 2, separate out very big keywords for special retargeting. Special retargeting. Why? Because there's only so many money words and they cost a lot. And if I have a $12 keyword that's my big money keyword and I'm maxed out on impression share, I don't want to just bucket that in with some dumb shit keyword AdWord groups. I want to pull that aside. It's my money word. If I drive 100,000 people to my website and they're like $8 clicks or $2 clicks or whatever, then I just purchased that list. Ask yourself, is there a reason to operate on that? And when I say unfiltered, I mean all you're doing is taking your big inventory and separating it out for special retargeting. Then this one is number 3. Separate and retarget big words in social filtered. Here's how that works. Here's how that works. The keyword is Nikon binoculars sale. But I don't retarget everyone. I only retarget the ones who buy outdoor sporting equipment and like 100 different geeky varietals of birds, or like birding or Audubon Society. And my creative has a big bird in the Nikon binoculars, so that's filtering the retargeting by psychographics. 4, this one's really cool. Guys, this one is total freaking money. Ready? You take your big, huge keywords, like big money keyword that cost a lot, you're already maxed out on impression share, and then you use Google RLSA search remarketing and target those people who first came from the big keyword for cheap-ass informational searches that you would never spend money on and cost 20 cents, and you still have the expensive big money targeting segment attached to it. That's retargeting, remarketing big keywords with little keywords using Google AdWords RLSA search remarketing. That's advanced, and it works really well. Then the final, this is social to search. This is RLSA campaigns to social audiences. This is where you're selling something where you can't tell who they are enough from the keyword, but you could take people from social and drive them in and then run search campaigns just to those people. Common applications would be people who work for one of 3,000 companies and then run search campaigns just to those people. Okay, that was a lot. So let's just summarize as we conclude here. First, it's in your best interest to understand psychographic targeting. In a minute, there's hardly going to be any keywords for us to use, and it's going to be all psychographic objects. So get into the root and activity thing. Understand advanced targeting, like lookalike modeling, or in-channel re-engagement objects. Buy SEO legally until it stops. Like pound that sucker dead until Google shuts it off. I can't believe they'll leave it on. Get into influencer amplification by running low-cost, small audience, editorial, calendar-based, social psychographic content amplification to journalists and other influencers. And when you retarget, consider if there's a reason to segment out anything for its own retargeting treatment. Test those social mashup things like targeting your followers filtered or little keywords to big keywords. If you email me, I'll give you my email address, then I'll send you the influencer data and you won't be put on any list of any kind. That said, we do have a super secret psychographic social distribution weekly tip sheet. You'd be astonished who is on the list. If you email me, please specify whether you would like to be on the super secret list. You won't find anything about it on the internet. We only talk about it at conferences. Or if you would like us to send you this deck and the influencer data, marty@aimclear.com. And then finally, if you're ever in Minneapolis, we always have, or St. Paul or Duluth, we always have coffee and really crazy wine. We've got 600 bottles of wine, so come have wine. But most likely where I'll be is up along the Canadian border. Like you see the tip of Lake Superior right there. That's the Canadian border running through it. This is where I'm going to be working from next summer. You can come visit me, but you'll have to bring food and leave with garbage. Those are fish on that graph right there. Those are lake trout. Look at that shit. That's amazing. Of course I go there. That's a 21-inch smallmouth bass, which is 2 inches off the state record. Those are my game face eyes. I got my game, a hunter, right? So come visit and we'll hang out, right? Affiliate Summit is really awesome. Like, it's my first time here, and I'm staggered at the wealth of the community, emotionally and professionally and technically, that you have here. My name is Marty. Email at me if you want any of this information. I'll hang out for a little while if anybody has any questions. And you're an awesome audience, so thank you very much.